Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Festus Kialo. In today's video, we're going to talk about the new migration strategy that were unveiled by the Australian government earlier this week. And before I start, I want to make a disclaimer that I am not a registered immigration agent or an immigration lawyer. So anything relating to immigration, please consult to your immigration lawyer. All right, welcome back. Now, as earlier stated, there is a new Australian migration policy that was, unveiled earlier this week by the Home Affairs Minister, and there are a few changes and the things that might affect most of the people. And in today's video, I'll just highlight some of the key things that I thought they were important for anyone intending to come to Australia, either as a student or as a skilled worker, or anyone in currently studying and working temporarily in Australia. And so I'll just pick up the key areas, and there's a document, migration strategy. It's in the government website, Home Affairs Department. You can Google and have a read. It's an extensive document, about 99 pages, so it has a lot of information, so you can Google by yourself and do a lot of reading to get into finer details. But in this video, I'll just draw on just a specific key areas that I thought they were important. And the reason why they are reviewing or they are coming up with this new strategy is to bring the number of migrants to Australia a little bit lower. Post-COVID, pandemic, there was a lot of immigrants who, were granted visas to Australia. To be specific, about 510,000. So the new strategy is to cut the migration in half over a period of 2 years. So, for example, in 2023-2024 financial year, they want to bring the number down to 375,000. That's a significant cut. And then by 2025, which is the second year, to around 250. And there are key areas that they are going to, ensure this one is achieved. And one of the most area that is affected is the international students. So let's talk about now the international students and the student visa. The changes that are meant for international student is there will be a tougher requirements for international students. And one area that the government has is going to change is there is an increase for the language, the English tests. They have increased the requirements. Currently, for temporarily granted visa, the requirement is 6.0 when you are doing the IELTS as the English test. And then it is now increased from 6.0 to 6.5. So that's an increase of 0.5. And for the student visa, it's increased from 5.5 to 6.0, which is, fairly, a higher increase, remembering that, getting even, 5.5 to most of the, maybe countries which are not English speaking, nations is a hard thing. So it's really an advantage for the students who are coming to study, but let's see how how that goes. And another area affected within the student visa is there will be more scrutiny to the international students applications, especially if you are applying to what is termed as a high risk provider. There are those who hide behind the student visa to with the other motives to come, and instead of studying they come purposely with the intention of working. So this is where there will be a lot of scrutiny to determine who is genuinely coming to study. Another area that things going to be tightened is for temporary graduate visa, where there is no visa hopping. That is where when you finish one course, you hop to another one, maybe lower than the one that you studied, and you changing from temporary graduate visa back to studies. They want to stop that, so that is still an area that might affect most of the international students who want to go back to school after they have been granted the temporary graduate visa. Now let's come to temporary graduate visa. The duration for these visas will be shortened, and for instance, there will be 2 years granted for those who are completing a bachelor's degree, and 2 years for those who are completing masters by coursework. And if you are doing masters by research, you've been granted 3 years, as well as if you are doing PhD, you still be granted the same 3 years. So that is a reduction from what we saw previously. They had given some extensions. However, there is eligibility for extension of the temporary graduate visa, and that is just 1 to 2 years, and that is for if you are choosing to study, and that is if you are studying in regional areas, and it depends on the location when it comes to the extending your temporary graduate visa. Still on the temporary graduate visa, there is a very a change when it comes to the age limit. Currently, the age limit for temporary graduate visa is 50 years and below. But with the current migration strategy, the government is planning to reduce the age from 50 to 35 years. That's a 15 years, reduction, which is quite a lot of years. And the challenge here is for most of the students who are doing masters and PhD, most of them, by the time you finish, which is if you are doing 4-year, a PhD and course, by the time you finish, you'll be most likely above 35 years. So it's really a kind of disadvantage for those who are pursuing PhD and maybe masters, because if you are past 35 years, then you'll not be eligible to apply for temporary graduate visa. Other key areas that the migration strategy is going to focus is developing a register for the employers who are approved to sponsor temporary workers to Australia. And the reason for doing this is they want to protect workers from exploitation by some of the employers, and also protect some employers misusing the system to bring in temporary workers when actually it's not necessarily a requirement for them to source employees from out of the country. Another key area of the new Australian migration strategy is to prioritize the visa processing for migrants sponsored by employers in regional areas. So this is kind of an advantage for those who are applying in regional areas, because your visa processing time will be given a priority, and it will take much lesser time for you to get your visa. And another point is the migration policy is also targeting a temporarily skilled migration, to address skilled needs and promote the work, mobility. And I'm not going to into much detail into this one because it's still something which is new, and there's not much information about it. But the proposal is that they will come up with introduce a new skills in demand visa, which is a 4-year temporarily skilled work visa. There's still not much details about what it's all about, but if you want to get more information, you can go into the Home Affairs department and then go to the news and the media and check the migration policy and read more about this information, because the document is uploaded there. And so these are some of the key things that were highlighted in the new Australian migration strategy. So thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you plan better if you are planning to come for work, or you plan to come and study, and hopefully things will work out best for you. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye for now.